authentic people and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Load up on meat and more this summer at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Havelock. This week's special through October 1st is spend $50, get one beef stew free, limit of one. Also, $1 off all drinks. Locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Highway 2 in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Davis Plumbing has been in business for over 15 years and is currently searching for journeyman plumbers to join their team. Experience is preferred, but not required for all applicants. When you join the team at Davis Plumbing, you'll receive full benefits package with paid time off. Join a small local business doing big things in Lincoln and surrounding areas. Apply today by calling 402-525-6922 or find them on social media. Davis Plumbing, locally owned and operated for over 15 years.
You can help fight deadly diseases like RSV and influenza while getting paid for your time. Velocity Clinical Research is now seeking clinical trial participants in your area. Participants can receive compensation for study-related time. No health insurance is needed to join. Find a study near you at velocitytrials.com. That's velocitytrials.com.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Chancellor Brewington.
All right, welcome into What's Brewing, Chancellor Brewington, back live on the Brick and Mortar. You guys can comment in 402-464-5685. That is the Starter Heyman text line. As always, you want to put a face to the voice. We're streaming Facebook, YouTube, X, Allo, Channel 961. If you got Allo Cable, welcome to join us as we're going to be talking plenty of Husker football here, I'm sure. Let's bring him in. Chancellor Brewington, how's it going on a Tuesday night?
Man, I'm doing fantastic. Like Harrison said, I'm Chancellor Brewington. Used to play at Nebraska, former Nebraska football tight end. And, man, I'm doing fantastic. It's awesome to be here. I had a show earlier, 1 to 2 p.m., The Locker Room with Mikey Daniels. We talked about a lot of great stuff. Show got a little wild, Harrison. It got a little wild. We got a little riled up today. I'm not going to lie. So it'll be nice to come on here and just calm it down because we got some things out of our system. Things we're talking about the Nebraska-Purdue game, and things got a little crazy, okay? We got into some things, and I want to touch on them with you. We always start off with quarter century wisdom. I'm 25, Harrison's 25. So we always start off with some type of wisdom, some type of encouragement, some type of knowledge that we've gained. And I think one thing I'm learning, and I've applied it, and it works. And so I'd only say something that I know that works on here because I know I wouldn't take this platform for granted by no means. So one thing I learned is deciding. Just decide it's enough. Decide that your life is going to change. I think that's one of the first things. I read an amazing book called Dream, Desire, Decide by Dr. Martin Williams. It's an amazing book. And, everyone that's been listening to What's Brewing knows that I love reading and I love the knowledge and buying the knowledge that comes from reading. And the last part of the book is obviously you're given a dream. You're given desires. And then now the last part is deciding that you're going to be this, deciding that, health is for you, wealth is for you, whatever it is, deciding that you are abundant in every way, right? It's the deciding factor. And I think that's the biggest thing that I think we miss is just like, it's just a decision. We're just going to make a decision. And for this Nebraska football team, I see how I tied it in right there. See how I tied it in?
I'm still on the run. Let's see where it goes.
Yeah. This Nebraska football team has to decide that you're a top 25 team, decide that you're a top 15 team, decide that you're a top 10 team, decide that you lost your last game this year. Illinois was the last loss this year. Decide as a coaching staff, decide that I'm going to be better. I'm going to be better, right? Decide that I'm going to put the best players out there. Decide that I'm going to find the right formation, and I'm going to, go the extra mile for film watch, that I'm going to put my players in the best scenario to win, right? Just decide. It's all about making a decision. And I believe the compound word of decide, I believe it's like D and then side. I believe it's to cut off. It's to cut off something, whatever. I'll get into that. But Nebraska football has to decide on what they want to be, where they want to go, and what they want to be remembered for.
Yeah, I'm all there for that. I mean, it doesn't really start anymore until you decide what you're going to do.
I love it.
Yeah, you get caught with, sitting there thinking about everything all the time.
I love it.
It's crippling. Won't lead to any action, just lead to anxiety.
Exactly. Okay, so my question is, and we gotta get Purdue out the systems, because Thursday we'll talk about Rutgers and more of a preview, and we'll probably talk about that in the show. But did Nebraska get better from Illinois to Purdue? I think that's the biggest question.
Like, they got better, but not right away. They weren't the better team until the second half, and I think that's why people are. It's I don't know. It's tough because the offense was getting into the red zone consistently. But the special teams obviously did not get better. The defense, you thought, rebounded. I think they looked better, but I mean, it's still some of the same errors showing up. That's frustrating.
Yeah. I see question marks. So some of the question marks I had was the kicking game, and I don't think we didn't get better there, right?
No. And I think we both kind of knew that going in.
Yeah.
Like, even maybe not that bad. Like, we weren't expecting it to go like that.
Yeah,
but
we didn't know it was going to be that bad. I think next one was defense, because, I mean, Illinois, as quote unquote bad as a performance it was, when you really look back, I know the standard of Black Shirts is the standard, right? But when you look back on the film, you're like, well, there's a couple plays here, a couple plays here. If you finish on a couple of these drives, right? Defense, it doesn't really look like a 31-point game.
how many third downs did we have an opportunity to shut it down?
Right.
That was the worst part about that Illinois game, is that
you had opportunities, like you're saying. And so the question mark in the defense, did that get answered? I think it did. I thought Purdue, I mean, defense wise, we go down there. Obviously, you have chances to have some more TFLs and some more sacks. You let, what's his face? What's the quarterback from Purdue?
Hudson Card. Yep.
Card get outside the pocket sometimes, right? But for the most part, you're making plays, right? You're making plays. There are some times where you could get off the field on third down. I thought they did a good job. Only let them get down to the red zone one time and they miss a field goal, right? So you come out the half 0-0. And then the next question I would say was overcoming close games, which we didn't really have an opportunity to do that against Purdue. You could say 0-0 at halftime was a close game, but for the most part, no. And then the penalties. I mean, the late MJ Sherman one, that kind of Mikey Daniels was at the game. He said that penalty against Illinois sucked the life out of the stadium. And so when you look at the penalties, Purdue week, I believe we were 9 for 81 or 83 yards. So it's not ideal. We need to be better. A lot of those, of course, you can talk about the offensive PI, which I think was just one of the most ridiculous calls I've ever seen in my whole entire life.
There was some absolute phantom calls, but at the same note, there was some legit calls, and you can't let the frustration of the wrong ones get to you.
Some super legit calls. I mean, when you talk about like some of the blocking the backs, I'm like, and I've heard, some of the announcers for Nebraska were like, yeah, that's not a blocking the back. But at the same time, I'm like, you shouldn't, as a receiver, right? As a receiver, you shouldn't put yourself in that position to ever, ever get a block in the back, whether you're blocking for, another pass catcher and it's you're out on a route, right? And you try to go block someone. You should know every time a dude's back is turned to you, don't touch them, right? A little holding calls, right? Some people were upset with the Jamal Banks, but at the end of the day, if you just position your feet a little bit better, it's not a holding call, right? So there's just little things you can do. Some of it's coaching, some of it's execution. I don't really know what's getting coached. I don't know what's getting told. So you can almost you have to direct it at the player, right? And you have to say, hey, bro, you got to get your hands inside, or you have to position your feet better, you have to attack leverage better, you have to do these type of things. For the most part, we have to not for the most part, we have to clean up these penalties.
Yeah,
We
we're
have
not going to go undefeated if we're not if we still having the same penalty. You don't see Ohio State, having 11 penalties for 94 yards.
And having a false start on a second and or a third and short.
Yeah, that's what
right?
pissed me off the most. What did we talk about with last week with Dylan Raiola?
Yeah,
you got to help him out in those situations.
You get a false start on 3rd and 3, and then all of a sudden it's 3rd and 8 or 3rd and 10.
More than 3, maybe even 4 times. We had a 4th and 1 that got turned into penalty, a 3rd and 1 or 2, and there might have been a couple more in there. But we had multiple times where it's like, okay, we're setting up our offense perfect. We're on rhythm. Emmett Johnson's starting to come alive, and then you false start. And you're putting Rail in a situation where, if you want to nitpick him at all, his worst errors come from pressure.
Yeah.
And when you're letting the defense pin their ears back, knowing that you're going to have to throw the ball here, very unlikely that you try to dial any run up unless it's maybe some sort of halfback screen. But you got to help your guy out in those situations because when he's clean, his numbers are fantastic.
Yeah, he's ranked, 4th in passing. He's top 25 in total yards in the Big Ten. Like he's doing in passing yards in the nation, I should say. Completion wise, I believe he's like top 12. Like he's doing everything right. And Rua has said this, I believe it was like UNI week, or it might have been called, I think it was UNI week, that everyone needs to raise up to Dylan's standards. And now like it's becoming more evident as we keep going. And I think honestly, like the play calling needs to raise up to Dylan's standards. And let's be honest. I am critical. I don't know what you're about to say, Harrison. What are you about to say?
I'm trying to register what you're saying. I'm not totally against it. I'm saying where you land on this. And
you
why.
think the play calling is good on offensive side?
I mean, if you think about how many points we could have scored in that Purdue game, if you get rid of the red zone penalties where we're false starting, you make those field goals. I mean, we're looking at a scoreboard where that conversation is harder to make.
Okay, let me ask you this: going 0 for 8 on 3rd down in the first half, who's that fall on?
I'm not going to purely say Satterfield.
Are you his cousin or something?
I got to look at the plays we're dialing up. If they're
please do, because if you look at them, it's disgusting.
So that you didn't like the play call?
No, I mean some of them were bad. I should say not all of them. That was a little harsh. My bad. I retract my statement. But I will say the 3rd and 4 pitch.
Yeah, okay.
I'll toss that play up and put it in a bonfire.
So you'd rather just see if it's
put the ball in 15's hands.
I was gonna say if it's anything but short yardage, you're dropping back.
This is the issue though. This is the issue, and I'll say it out front. Usually you get to see like what a team is like with running the football. Okay, so look at Michigan, look at all these teams that are really effective running the ball. Wisconsin even. Look at all these teams that are effective running the ball. You can kind of tell like, okay, even Rutgers. Rutgers is let's use Rutgers is perfect. They run a bunch of inside zone and then they'll counter it with split zone. Okay. And they'll counter it with bluff split zone. Okay. So you have an identity. So when you play Rutgers and when you look at the film versus Rutgers, you're like, oh man, they finna run split zone, right? Or they going to run split zone. Sorry about that. They're gonna run split zone, right? And so now you get in a mode where you're like, when you're watching Nebraska, you're kind of like, okay, so we go 22 personnel, we go I formation, then we pitch it. Okay. Then we do a misdirection pitch as like one of our first big hit runs, right? And then all of a sudden we go counter. And then we don't run counter for 2 more games. And then we go power. Okay, power doesn't work. Okay. And then we go inside zone. And then we got out. And then
so is this like a jack of all trades, master of none problem for you?
It just looks like we're just spinning the wheel on our run plays and just waiting for one to hit instead of saying like, this is who we are. Right. And I know fronts add into that. So I know, when you go even front, odd front, over, under, I understand all that. Right. But there's some point where you say, hey, this is just who we are. We're going to hop in heavy personnel and run the football at the end of the day. Right.
But there's probably some plays I'd just go back and circle question mode. But to me, it's like when you got the play dialed up that you want to run a good coach should have the next one dialed up, ready to go. But when you're just getting those unexpected penalties every time you're lining up and you got them where you want, and then you got to make a change play, whether we get different guys in there, whatever you're deciding to do, if you're a great coach, you got to back up always. But I think that's where a lot of that came from at the same time, where those play calls where we wanted to do something, we take the penalty, then we got to make a quick decision to figure out, how we're going to get, 6-7 yards as opposed to just 3, 2, 1.
How much Santa Fe will pay you for today's show?
It's disclosed.
Oh, no, I'm just kidding. But no, I could be harsh. I could be completely wrong, right? And that's why I love this type of show, because man, I could be wrong, right? But most of the time I'm not wrong. I promise you, Harrison.
Well, a lot of it too is it's just such an upgrade from last year that it's a little bit hard to nitpick on such an improvement just because you're looking at, we're positive in turnover margin. We fixed the turnovers. The penalties are ugly. And how much we use Dylan Raiola is always kind of the question for me. The only thing I absolutely disagreed with, and we've been talking about this game 1, game 2, game 3, game 4, all the way up to game 5 now, is Emmett Johnson. I just don't understand why it takes so long for that guy to get involved. And that's what I don't understand is that's been a consensus between everybody who's played it, who's just watched it, who's coached it. Get him the damn ball.
You have to.
Mm-hmm.
He's not only getting it done in the receiving game. I mean, the rushing game, he's getting it done in the receiving game as well.
And the pass pro. He's been awesome in pass pro. And that's a big deal, talking about
a big deal.
Because looking at, again, I want to bring this up because this is why I think we're just going to see more pressure with Dylan Raiola. On passes behind the line of scrimmage, he's completing almost 90%, about 87 if you want to be exact. But then when he is pressured, he's throwing all the way at about 40%, 47 for 276 yards. He's still got 3 touchdowns on those pressures, though. So he's 19 for 40 on the pressures. Clean pocket, it's 80 for 103, almost 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns, and then a couple interceptions. One of those just being really unfortunate, one where Illinois ripped it away.
He's emerging himself. Emmett Johnson is. He's emerging himself as the number 1 back. I saw it UNI week. I know the people wanted to say, "Oh, it's just UNI." Okay, now he doesn't get a chance against Illinois, comes out against Purdue, gets an opportunity, and executes, right? And really is the spark that kind of got us started popping these runs, and all of a sudden, right? He's kind of the spark that I would say pushed the needle, and then all of a sudden John Bullock with the whatever, and then you back it up with your Corey, and he was kind of the spark, I would say, midway through the third quarter on that second drive that kind of got us, that pushed us over the edge. And so when you look at Emmett Johnson, I'm like, in what world do you keep him off the field for the second drive? Okay, Dante's our starter, Harrison. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's good back. Don't get me wrong. This isn't a hate on Dante.
Exactly. But second drive needs to be Emmett. It needs to. And you have to get Ramir involved. And I don't know how that's going to happen, but you have to look at these problems as if you're offensive coordinator, look at this. I want you to look at this, Harrison. When's the last time Nebraska has, okay, not really Nebraska, as an offensive unit, you have a top 3, top 4 quarterback in the Big Ten, right? As a freshman as well. You got 3 running backs capable, right? All can play Power 5, start anywhere, right? You got 2 6'4", 220-pound receivers that run like gazelles, run good routes as well. Then you got 2, 4-3 guys and Ja'Cory and Jalen Lloyd. And then you got Carter Nelson, a unicorn where he should be on the field a lot more than he is, right? Of course, maybe it's an IQ thing. And then you got Fedoni.
Borkature as well.
You got Borkature as well.
Him in the mix.
Right? You got, all Big Ten and tight end, right? If you give him the ball, right? You're just not giving him the ball. Oh, yeah. And you got a decent O-line. Okay? When you look at that, you're like, this is an offensive coordinator's dream. And I think just moving forward, you just got to find a way. And I know it's probably hard, right? Just trying to find a place for everyone because there's only one ball to go around. But
I think the freshman quarterback does play. Not that he's not capable, but I just think it takes time to get that full team chemistry and to where everyone's just on the same page, no hesitation. You can see it from game 1 already that it just feels like it's getting better and better. kind of what you're seeing with, my Chicago Bears. Like, it just takes time. I don't think those
Why
relationships.
do we always have to? We always have to do this, guys.
It's a very similar situation, is all I'm saying, right? If you look at the Bears, they're the OC. You got all the toys and candy in the world. What more could you ask for? You got a quarterback who's quote unquote generational. It's a very similar situation with an offensive line that was terrible the year before, but now this year they're giving you some hope. That's why I always compare the two, because it's the exact same story. And, luckily the Huskers are having a much better storyline thus far.
Yeah, thank goodness. Thank goodness.
But the NFL, you don't get cupcake games in week 1 through 3 either.
All right. All right.
There's my Bears segment.
All right. There's the Bears segment, brought to you by Harrison Arms.
Let's see. We got a couple from the text line here. We got a couple minutes here, so let's get to these. We got one on Mississippi Mud Dog. I disagree. Why is Dante just hands down the starter in your opinion?
I don't. Honestly, I would start Emmett. It's not really up to me, obviously. But if I was running this team, I would put Emmett out there. He just got it right now.
Mm-hmm.
He just got it. So I would say, in my personal opinion, it's Emmett, but I know they're going to start Dante.
Yeah. And if you're the coaches too, part of this, like, even if that feels like the right decision, has Dante Dowdo done necessarily anything that has been job? I mean, the stats, that was Emmett's game, but Dante still had good stats as well. But to me, it's certainly you got to play both of them. Who starts? I'll be honest, I don't think either of them really give a damn as long as they're getting their carries.
Yeah, get Emmett 10 plus carries, and we'll be all right.
And then we got one more here. I'm curious what your thoughts are on this. Unknown texter, no more shotgun on the goal line, please. That's your run the ball segment right there.
On the goal line. When did we do shotgun on the goal line? I'm trying to remember.
It might be accumulation. I don't know if they're specifically talking about last
Well,
game.
if you're throwing the ball, you gotta go shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you don't have to unless you're doing heavy play action. But I mean, for the most part, what I don't like on the goal line, speaking of this, on the goal line at like the 4-yard line, 5-yard line, is like running double fades and throwing it up. I think that is outdated. I think these DBs, first of all, are too tall nowadays, and they're too athletic. And actually, I like it in some scenarios. Maybe like after a big play, like you go for it.
But very selective.
But like very selective.
For you
We've done this 3 or 4 times in the past 3 weeks.
You sound like Tom Chattel. He's got the exact same thoughts of the Omaha World Herald.
Really?
Hates the fade. He just thinks it's incredibly ineffective. It's like you'd rather just run the ball 4 times if it's first down than try a fade.
Or at least scheme up something like where they throw the back line to Banks. Like there's a scheme in place where there's a 1-2-3 read. If Dylan can make a play with his feet, if it's man to man, which most of the time on the goal line is going to be some type of man to man, fence coverage, bracket, whatever it is. Like make a play that way, right? In my personal opinion, I mean now you're 0 for 3 in the last 3 games with this fade ball. I think now you're kind of like, okay, let's get out of it, right?
Yeah.
Or run something out of it. I don't know, run a fade and then fade comeback or something. I don't know, right? But at some point you gotta add a wrinkle in there or do something. I mean, I love when Dylan gets outside the pocket within like the 5-yard line range, like especially like low red zone inside the 10. I love when you get him outside the pocket. He's able to make some reads. He's able to let the play develop. Like we saw, like him hit Nair backside one time, Banks backside one time. Like let some things develop and let him. Because I think anytime it's like crunch time situation, you put the ball in 15's hands. In my eyes.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like who your best playmakers are right now. I'll make it to Dylan,
Ja'Cory.
right? Ja'Cory, Barney, and Dylan Raiola.
Yeah, but Ja'Cory, I would say, I don't know if he doesn't run routes well, or I don't know. I personally don't really know or if it's just an IQ thing, but I would love to see him on the field more. Because imagine if we have him at slot a little bit more. I'm not saying like he's playing 60 plays a game. But
I think he's probably in like the Carter Nelson thing where it's like, we're putting you in for as much as you know.
Yeah, as he evolved. But we're seeing it evolve, though. So that's encouraging, and that's hopeful that, all of a sudden Illinois is out there on a big 3rd down play. And then obviously Oregon State hit Purdue with a bunch of jet sweeps and stuff and reverses and handoffs. So that's why he got those reps there.
I think I agree with you on that, though, because you could just make the argument for how many of these players, whether you want to dial it up for Fredoni, Ja'Cory Barney, If you think of Banks, like it all starts with Dylan Raiola if he's going to be throwing the ball. So if he's the kind of your bailout guy, I think it's a fair argument. He's been the best player on the offense so far. That Purdue game, I think, could have got really ugly if our offense stalls out too. Yeah. Even though we got some pass interference calls to bail us out, if Dylan Raiola is not taking those chances, especially the way the run game was going, kind of sluggish at the beginning. Again, maybe another reason why you do put Emmett in there earlier. I mean, that would have been some momentum for Purdue, and who knows what it looks like if they're leading, heading into that second half. But that being said, we'll go ahead, throw it to our first break here. What's brewing, Chancellor Brewington? You guys can keep chiming in. 402-464-5685. That is the Starter Hammond text line. We'll talk to you on the other side.
I'm Karen Carr. I've been a realtor for 31 years. When I made a company change 12 years ago, I chose Lincoln First Realty, now NP Dodge. It's the oldest independently owned realty company in the country. Since becoming NP Dodge, we've continued our tradition of community involvement. Our management and staff are always available to offer support in marketing, technology, social media, and educational opportunities.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
It's game on at Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Nebraska's premier Kawasaki dealership. Score big on Kawasaki's most dependable side-by-side, the Mule Pro, built to take on your most demanding days. Rule the streets on an Indian motorcycle with customer cash and trade-in credits up to $2,000 during the month of October. On or off-road, Elway Power Sports of Lincoln has you covered with large selection of motorcycles and side-by-sides in stock at their new 27th and I-80 location. Stop by every Saturday for their Husker tailgate with free food, drinks, and games.
Everyone should have a collection of something. For some, it's stamps or coins, expensive cars, or even watches. But for a lot of people, it's sports cards. And there's no better way to grow your collection than with the help of Capital City Sports Cards, Lincoln's first and only collector-first sports cards and memorabilia shop. Capital City Sports Cards connects collectors of all ages and demographics with unique collectibles sure to bring any collection to life, no matter the budget. Visit Capital City Sports Cards near 56th and Old Cheney or through their eBay storefront. Capital City Sports Cards, Lincoln's premier sports card and memorabilia store.
At Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical, we're ready, reliable, and recommended. Water heater acting up or your sump pump on the fritz? Call Action. Summer's around the corner. Is your AC working? Are you sure? Call Action. Electrical problems? I'm telling you, call Action. Call Action for a free same-day estimate or a trusted second opinion. You heard that right, a free same-day estimate. 402-423-6960. actionlincoln.com.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Greens at 402-467-4444 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-467-4444.
Tanner's Bar and Grill is the best place in Lincoln for a casual get-together, best place to watch a game, and the best for pre- and post-game. Catch college and NFL football as well as the volleyball action this season at Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. What's better than wings, cold beer, and a Husker win? Enjoy great food and drink specials every day and tons of TVs to catch all the action. Tanner's Bar and Grill, 30th and Yankee Hill.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see lots of sunshine and light winds. See an afternoon high around 71. Tonight, mostly clear skies and calm winds with a low around 49. And tomorrow, we'll see lots of sunshine again, but it will be breezy with an afternoon high around 85. Meteorologist Kyle Cluck for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Tailored Life is your headquarters for all things fall in Bennett. Make the short drive down Highway 2 for tons of items for your home, both indoors and outdoors. Check out their variety of potted trees, mums, and more. Plus, porch pots and landscape lighting to enhance the outside of your home. Don't forget their home goods for indoors, plus convenient drinks and snacks, most of which are produced locally. Visit Tailored Life today in Bennett and stay tuned to their Facebook page at Tailored Life 360 for food truck events coming up.
It's the fall sports season, and that means that the school year is back in session and you're planning road trips for Nebraska football games and following your kids around to their different events. Stop telling yourself you'll upgrade your car someday and do it now. Mullen Motors Lot is full of great vehicles to take home so you don't have to worry about your current car struggling through another season. Come check out their lot just north of 48th and Lake and find your next ride. As your fall schedule gets busy, you'll need a reliable way to get to your destinations. Mullen Motors.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports is quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Back to What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome in to What's Brewing. Chancellor Brewington talking some Husker football here as they get ready to face the Rutgers Scarlet Knights this Saturday. It's 3 o'clock game afternoon. Nebraska back at home, 4-1, facing the undefeated Rutgers at 4-0. All right, Chancellor Brewington, throw it back over to you. Where do you want to go with it?
Yeah, so I want to segue to some Big Ten updates this past weekend and just talk through some of these games. It was a weird weekend, I would say. And I predicted on here Thursday, specifically last Thursday, I was talking about Michigan and Minnesota. And I said this Minnesota team, this Michigan team is going to get exposed, and eventually they're going to fall and they're going to drop, right? So I said it was going to be a close game. That's why I said. And when you look at the Michigan-Minnesota game, it's interesting. So Alex Orji hasn't thrown, Michigan's quarterback hasn't thrown for over 100 yards yet. Okay. He's thrown for 30 yards and 80 yards, 81 yards to be exact. You look at this Michigan team, like they're going to fall sometime. Like they're just going to. And USC, I don't know how they didn't beat them. I mean, I don't know how USC didn't win that. You throw the ball for 30 yards. It just doesn't make sense, right? At some point, they're going to fall. And, Minnesota, it was a dogfight. Minnesota goes for onside kick. They get it, right? But then it gets called back. Michigan ends up winning 27-24. And like I said, Alex Orji, their quarterback, still has yet to throw for 100 yards. You cannot win Big Ten football. And I know you're probably pulling up the schedule right now for Michigan.
Yeah, I'm seeing where they're headed here.
Like everything, and we'll talk about it, but the landscape of the Big Ten is going to change in the next 3 to 4 weeks. And Nebraska has an awesome opportunity. I'm telling you. I don't know if people see it, but I see it. I see it. Maybe because I'm so optimistic, but
things are certainly shifting. Because I'm with you on Michigan. They're they just had a rough go of things. Losing to Texas, obviously, right off the bat. And then they beat Arkansas State 28 points. They beat
and
USC.
That was a tight game.
USC, oddly enough, the exact same score line as the next week. They beat it 27-24. Minnesota, they win 27-24. Now they got Washington. If this is another close one to Washington, this is a real sign of where this program's at.
Yeah,
they've definitely shifted from championship standard.
Yeah, there's a bunch of things that this team needs to correct. And one of the things is just they're not the same offense as last year.
Is it because McCarthy's no longer there, or where do you think it stems from?
It's definitely personnel in the quarterback position specifically. But I think one thing also is like they just don't. I don't know. I think they relied on McCorum so much last year that it kind of went away, and then now you try to fill in with the back that they have now, which he's doing a great job. It's not a thing where he's not, of course, Edwards is number 2 now, which is so interesting. He's started off, on the cover, and then now he's number 2. But anyways, no, I think it's a thing where this Michigan offense just needs to find a way to throw the football, because eventually you're not going to be able to just run the football. There's going to be a team that comes in and stops you from doing that, and then you're going to be kind of, palms up in the air, questioning where to go and how to move the football forward. The next game I want to talk about is the USC Wisconsin game. It was weird at
Disappointed
halftime.
in the Badgers.
Man,
Disappointed in the Badgers.
You had a chance to show them what Big Ten football was all about.
I really thought that's what was happening.
Hey,
I was amped up for it. I was ready to go.
At halftime, 21-10, Wisconsin over USC. And then Wisconsin, second half, doesn't score a point. And USC ends up scoring 28, and it ends up being 38-21.
Frustrating.
You need that one.
That was one where
that was for the boys.
You know what I was just going to say? You know what I love about this conference realignment?
Huh.
There's some unification within the Big Ten. Everyone's looking at these Pac-12 schools saying, like, you don't know what football is out there in the nice sun rays of California, Oregon, Washington. So this is that is kind of fun to watch, because I never root for the Badgers like that.
Hey, I was rooting for them.
I was actually
21-10. I'm like, hey, y'all get it done. Y'all get it done.
But they didn't.
They did it. And
that's
then
why I don't like them. Maybe.
That leads me into my next game, Oregon to UCLA. Oregon blows out UCLA. I think we talked about it. I think UCLA might be the worst team is probably the worst team in the Big Ten.
Yeah, and it's not, because of Foster. I think Foster walked into a program that needs a lot of work. He needs some PR work himself. So it's an entire team work around here.
Yeah. So, and if you look at Oregon, I'm telling you, so things are going to shift, I think, in Michigan. Okay. So I think they might fall a couple games, whether it's Illinois, whether it's Indiana.
Kingpin still? Ohio State, right?
Ohio State's
right. Okay. No question.
Way above water. I mean, they're the top echelon of the Big Ten by far. I think now it's a question. Okay, is it Penn State? Is it Michigan? Or is it Oregon?
I think it's Penn State.
Now we're going to talk about that in a second. I think when you look at the Oregon Ducks, they play Idaho 24-14. And it was, week 1. Everyone has their troubles, right? Boise State, you play the Heisman winner in my eyes right now. If the Heisman was today,
their running back,
I'll go Genty out of Boise State. You play Oregon State, you beat them comfortably. And then UCLA, you beat them comfortably as well. So now you're getting into,
now you're in the water.
Now you're in the water. You're playing Michigan State. You're playing Ohio State. You're playing Purdue. You're playing Illinois. You're playing Michigan. You're playing Maryland. You're playing Wisconsin. You're playing Washington. I don't really see this Oregon team like going undefeated. No. I maybe see this Oregon team like a 9-3, 8-4 team, to be honest with you. I think I don't see enough from this. I know Dylan Gabriel is playing at an elite level, but as far as like defensive wise, as far as running the football, as far as physicality from this Oregon team, I think the true Big Ten teams, Harrison, I think they can get some things done. And I would anticipate some type of movement. I don't think Oregon's going to stay a top 10 team for very long.
Yeah. And I think Illinois would probably be one of those teams to play Ruiner a lot on their schedule for any of the opponents they face that are non-con, originally non-con, those Pac-12 schools entering. Illinois, I think Brett Bielema right now has probably got the best style of like just Big Ten football and the way he likes to operate. I don't know. Oregon's a tough one for me because I think they might at the end of the season still be considered high, because I don't think they drop 3 games. I'll be honest.
Ooh,
I think maybe Illinois. You can maybe pick out
Ohio State for sure.
Ohio State,
Illinois, maybe. I think he might drop Michigan. Or I don't know. I
think they beat Michigan, because I earlier I would have said Michigan's got him, but I'm down on Michigan.
But still, like even like a game like Michigan State coming up, Like they're no chumps, right? This
is it at the Woodshed? Where's that?
It's home. It's at Oregon.
Yeah, so that's a big deal.
Yeah, it is a big deal.
Until like I really have to look at these games. Where are those Pac-12 schools playing? Is it on the road, and what time of year is it?
Yeah,
because if you want to throw the football around the yard, get cute with it, and windy, snowy, blustery weather, that's why the Big Ten's so predicated on having a good run game, because you get late in the season and you don't got that down. It's just really hard to win football games.
Yeah, it's like they're gonna go play Wisconsin November 16th. That's gonna be pretty rough.
And Wisconsin proved some things in the first half.
Yeah, they did. So and next you hinted on it, the Illinois Penn State game. I said that okay, so the cover was the spread was 19.5 points, so 20 points, right? Obviously they didn't cover it. Penn State didn't.
I thought that was more disrespectful to Illinois, though.
That was crazy disrespectful.
I was like, Penn State's a good team, but I was like, Illinois just proved some things.
Illinois had opportunities to win that game. Like they missed a field goal early. Should have been 10-7 at halftime. They should have been up. Even some like the Penn State stuff, just some dumb penalties on Illinois. But when you look at the Penn State, it's almost like a copy and paste from last year. I don't see too much where it's like, man, they went, because the one thing they wanted to improve on in the offseason is their offensive explosiveness, right? They wanted to go get some guys. And now when you look at the offense, it's like, okay, like it looked the same to me, right? And that's no disrespect, but at the end of the day, I think if you want Penn State, and if Penn State wants Penn State to be the top echelon, I think you kind of have to model the Penn State offenses of the past, where it's like these high-powered, explosive offenses. You got these explosive receivers.
So much that's predicated on just finding these gems of players, too, though.
Exactly.
I mean, they've had some generational guys, especially in that running back room.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you talk about the KJ Hamlers and, in the receiving room. Like, they've had some guys. And it's hard to do that. But when you look at this Penn State team, it didn't show me too much of, like, I still can't figure out if Illinois is good. It's still, so I can't figure out now if Penn State is, the number 2 team in the Big Ten, and I can't figure out now if Illinois is good, because now if Penn State is number 2 team, then that means Illinois is a little better than I thought. Okay, but if Penn State isn't as good as I thought, that means Illinois isn't that good, right? And so now I'm just conflicted. I that's why I say like these next 3 to 4 weeks are going to show a lot.
I'm more convinced Illinois is good as we throw the break here. But I've always been a big Brett Bielema fan everywhere he's gone. I've always had a lot of hope for him.
What's up? You just want to move to Illinois or something?
No, because I never cared about Illinois until Brett Bielema was there. And I never liked Wisconsin.
Where's Brett Bielema from?
That's a fantastic question. Where he's actually from.
He just popped up somewhere.
I'd have to look at his full record, but I'd always catch in with Arkansas. We've talked about that before. I still think they made a mistake getting rid of him. But with that being said, we'll throw it to break. Don't go anywhere. We do got one from the text line here. If we got time, we'll get to it more on some Husker football. We'll keep things rolling. What's Brewing, Chancellor Brewington? We'll talk to you guys on the other side.
Prashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Hey, Nebraska football fans, it's defensive lineman Ty Robinson, and I've got a winning play for you with Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical. Team up with Action and install a new Bradford white water heater in your home. And if we win the conference championship this season, you'll get a full refund. Don't fumble this opportunity. Sack your old water heater this season and score big with Action. Visit actionlincoln.com/Huskers to learn more.
Promotion valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
With a VIP and a deluxe option, we will help you find the plan that best fits your needs. Receive discounts on services and equipment, priority service, complimentary inspections, and so much more. Protect your home's plumbing, heating, cooling, and electrical systems all in one membership. Call John Henry's to learn more.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing.
and electrical.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
It's game on at Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Nebraska's premier Kawasaki dealership. Score big on Kawasaki's most dependable side-by-side, the Mule Pro, built to take on your most demanding days. Rule the streets on an Indian motorcycle with customer cash and trade-in credits up to $2,000 during the month of October. On or off-road, Elway Power Sports of Lincoln has you covered with large selection of motorcycles and side-by-sides in stock at their new 27th and I-80 location. Stop by every Saturday for their Husker tailgate with free food, drinks, and games.
At Anderson Ford, we offer a 5-day return or exchange policy so you can make sure the vehicle you choose is the best vehicle for you. No pressure. Lease a 2024 Ford F-150 for $437 per month for 36 months. Experience better at Anderson Ford. Stock number 1004120, $437 per month, lease for 36 months with approved credit, 7,500 miles per year, 5,500 dual signing, no security deposit required. Tax, title, and license fees extra. Residency restrictions apply. Program subject to change. Must take new retail delivery from Anderson Auto Group by 9/30/2024. See dealer for details.
Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket as soon as the clock hits 0 for the Jay Foreman postgame show. Listen to expert analysis from the Husker Hall of Famer, an 8-year NFL veteran for 90 minutes after the game. The Jay Foreman postgame show, sponsored by Anderson Ford, Tanner's Bar and Grill, Tavern 180, Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Vinnie Kreekak of State Farm Insurance, and Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Every home is different. Every family is different. So when it comes to a new heating and cooling system, why not get what fits you best? Get the perfect fit with Bryant. Maybe you need higher efficiency, better humidity control, increased warranty, or all the bells and whistles. Bryant provides options. Options in warranty, brand, comfort, and efficiency while maximizing savings. Call 467-1111 or visit BryantLincoln.com. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. We do whatever it takes.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and we are out of the gate for September with a very special GMC sales offer. We must move out all new GMC truck inventory fast. So right now at Koppel, we are offering true GM supplier pricing for everyone. Yes, you heard right. True GM supplier pricing on all GMC Sierras. That's over $12,000 off on select models. That's GM supplier pricing, $12,000 off on Sierras. Do not wait. Stop on in or check us out online at koppelcars.com.
Tanner's Bar and Grill is the best place in Lincoln for a casual get-together, best place to watch a game, and the best for pre- and post-game. Catch college and NFL football as well as the volleyball action this season at Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. What's better than wings, cold beer, and a Husker win? Enjoy great food and drink specials every day and tons of TVs to catch all the action. Tanner's Bar and Grill, 30th and Yankee Hill.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the K&TK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeit. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Back to What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in. What's Brewing? Chancellor Brewington, the final segment here, talking a lot of Husker football throughout the entire hour. You can always go back on YouTube, rewatch it if you missed anything, as weeknights with Chancellor Brewington's only a couple times a week now at this point, as we got the other student-athlete shows, but you can catch them on the locker room from 1 to 2.
1 to 2.
1 to 2, Monday through Friday. Be sure to check them out. I'm looking at some numbers here. Mississippi Mundog, appreciate the text line. Yes, Brett Belima from Iowa. And trust me, I know the 2012 era all too well when Wisconsin beat the brakes off Nebraska in that championship game. All right, I'm looking at the spread here. Nebraska favored by 7 right now.
Yeah.
I mean, this is going to be a pattern going on here. Is Nebraska is probably going to be favored in all of these unless something disastrous happens, like a Dylan Raiola getting injured, that they're going to be favored 7. Does that feel right versus Rutgers? It is home at Nebraska. So typically, you give 2.5 already in favor of the home team if it's close. But 7 feels pretty good for me. I'll be honest. It's nice to see Nebraska consistently kind of be favored in these. I don't think it's going to be a blowout versus Rutgers by any means. Probably be the best test for, I don't know, what'd be a tougher test defensively, playing Rutgers or Illinois?
Colorado.
That's so hard for me because I just feel like the 3-3-5 sets up so well for a team that's so one-dimensional in Colorado.
Yeah, I'd say, Illinois, I don't think that offensively it was such a big test. I just think they messed up like so many times. I don't really see it as I will say, I'll agree with you actually. If this is the point you're trying to make, is that Rutgers is the offensive wise will be the biggest test so far. I still think Colorado. I can't say that. I can't say that comfortably.
Travis Hunter is like,
Shador
talking about the
Sanders.
Heisman, he's going to be in the running for it too.
Well, Shador
as well.
You got 2 Heisman candidates right there.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't, and I know the O-line play goes into factor, but I would say the Colorado, because if you mess around and not get home like you did the way against Colorado, that's a long football game.
That's true. You give Horn, he's the guy that gets left out of the mix. You give him, 2 more seconds, he's over the top.
Yeah. So, but when you look at this Rutgers team, I don't really know where the 7 points is coming from. Whether it's because they score. I'm looking at the points they scored because Nebraska, like we talked about, or we talked about this off air, Nebraska still is in like the top 10 on defensive on points allowed per game.
Mm-hmm. 8 overall.
Yeah.
If you're going by teams, well, I think that's everything.
Yeah.
Basically, right?
Yeah. So you look at how many points Rutgers scored so far: 44 first game, 49 second game, 26, and then 21. So when they get into real, I would say Power 5 opponents, not really scoring the football as much. This will be a game, and we'll talk about it on Thursday a little bit more. This will be a game where time possession is huge, making sure Rutgers isn't beating you down and, breaking you down with running the football. They're super simple. Simplistic as it comes. They're going to do the same thing over and over. But this is the thing, though. If Nebraska can stop it, they have nothing else. They have nothing else, because this is a game where Nebraska can go play man to man, trust Buford and trust Sayer, right? Or Tommy Hill if he's back from his foot injury. You trust Malcolm Harzog, trust Deshaun, even Gifford in man sometimes if they ever put him there. And the tight end that Rutgers has, he's a former defensive end, not super. I wouldn't say he's too creative in his route running, right? He's still trying to figure out tight end position. What I'm saying is that if you allow Rutgers to get a sliver of hope and get some sliver of success running the football, then it'll be a long day. But if you cut it off short, they have nothing to fall back on. Nothing. So it's all predicated on, okay, can Nebraska stop the run? If they can, how is Nebraska's offense performing? And so I guess numbers wise, if you really look at it, they might be a 7-point favorite. I don't know.
I think it's fair just by how good our defense has been. Also, if they're able to get pressure, Kaliak Manis, the quarterback over at Rutgers, I don't think he's that great at scrambling and finding extra time.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan on Rutgers quarterback. I think if you put the game in his hands, he's gonna make mistakes.
Yeah, he's 60% on the year.
Yeah.
7 touchdowns, 1 pick.
Yeah.
But again, he hasn't really been challenged too much in terms of defensive fronts that's been able to get pressure on him.
Now the question is, can Nebraska's O-line pick up all these blitzes that Rutgers sends? Because they
like to send the house.
Oh my gosh, they'll send a free safety blitz. They'll send a nickel blitz, corner blitz. They started the Washington game off second play with a corner blitz, right? Like they're going to continually send pressure from safety to corner to weak side to strong side to everything, right? And so it's going to be Nebraska's job, offensive line wise, to pick these things up, right? They're probably going to do some simulated pressures that Illinois did. Probably going to see what worked against UNI, like things like that. So you got to expect those type of things, especially the Illinois game. You showed a lot of things late in the game, obvious pass situations where.
Yeah, they showed if you get good pressure up the middle, it makes Dylan Raiola really uncomfortable.
Right.
Because he likes to step up into the pocket. He's not much for going east to west when he's got to find extra time. I mean, that's his first instinct right away. And he doesn't quite have the athleticism to break out on the outside. Say, if he's got a free runner at him, if you want to nitpick him, you got to get rid of the ball sometimes. If you recognize that your offensive line or your running back missed a guy, you can't be taking sacks.
Yeah. And that's something where it's tough because you want to critique a guy like that if you had to, like you said, if you had to critique something. But then again,
if you want to go undefeated, you gotta be that critical on everything.
Right. But then you just look at some of the plays he's making where he does hold on to it a little bit longer.
Oh, you pat him on the back after you tell him that.
I'm like, my gosh, please don't. It's like you talk to him and say hey, don't stop doing it, but here, look, listen, maybe get a little more sense of urgency, because the one where he got tripped, a little bit more sense of urgency, he gets outside the pocket and makes something happen.
But at least those are things that are fixable.
Yeah.
He's not doing anything mechanically that really scares you.
Exactly.
And you feel good about all the other parts of the game. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for us. Chancellor Brewington, you got any final words of wisdom before we get out of here?
Nah. Y'all have a blessed day. And if it's not blessed, bless it yourself.
You heard it there from Chancellor Brewington himself. All right, don't go anywhere. It's morning, Pure Snell on the Dome Punt Tower. Up next, you'll be streaming in. You guys can always join in through the streams. Like I said, that one's coming your way up next. We'll talk to you in a little bit.